Hello, hello, my gorgeous ones. Thank you so much for being so patient with me. We always have stuff going on with the planets, right? But the bigger picture or the most prominent things are the things that I kind of want to bring when I do tarot readings, right? So we have Jupiter transiting from Libra to Scorpio on October 10th. So I want to talk about that first. So welcome, welcome all you new ones. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities to help you on your path, including tarot, astrology, hypnotherapy, and mediumship. So I want to let everybody know, or I want to thank everybody for being patient, because when I'm doing tarot, or especially with this channel, I'm expanding it just from tarot. I'm a teacher, I'm a spiritual advisor, that's what I do. So I'm always sort of teaching you guys. So I had to like really meditate, get centered, and try to help, or try to see how I was going to teach this, right? So, because it's important, there's such a big group that's watching, it's important for everyone to sort of get the concept, right? And when I do that, I know the way a Virgo is hearing me is not the same way a Scorpio is hearing me, or a Cancer is hearing me, or an Aquarius is hearing me. So even though you may get frustrated at the way that I say things, just understand that it's not just you watching. There are many, many, many watching. It's important for everyone to get the concept. That's the way that I teach. So, back to this Jupiter transiting into Scorpio. So Jupiter transits for a year. And so October 10th, it's going to be transiting from Libra, because it was in Libra, and now it's going to move into Scorpio. So obviously when it moves into a different house and a different sign, then it's going to be doing different things, right? And so it's got to like play nice with the house, right? So it's almost like it's coming to live in a house, and the house has a, I don't know, ruler, a landlord, right? So when Scorpio, or when Jupiter moves into Scorpio, it's going to be doing something very different than when it did to Libra. Or it could be doing the same thing, just in a different way, right? So let's talk about Jupiter itself first. Okay, so Jupiter is it's a huge planet. So, and again, it transits for a year. And so Jupiter is the manifester. Jupiter in Vedic astrology, they call him the guru, right? Jupiter is the teacher. Jupiter wants to expand things. And Jupiter, pardon me, got something stuck in my throat. But Jupiter wants to like give gifts and expand your knowledge and expand your thinking and expand your way of life, right? But it wants to do it for responsible owners, okay? So, because it's a teacher. So it's like, yes, you can have your gifts, but you have to be responsible in them. It's almost like, when you get, because we've talked about lottery winners. When you get lottery winners, the person that's responsible and able to handle that is much different than the one that isn't. They're going to end up losing it, right? So Jupiter sees this and he wants to give it to everybody. Jupiter loves giving gifts, so he wants to give it to everybody, right? But he's saying, as a guru, there are responsibilities that you have to be able to take and have to be able to accept these gifts. So that's sort of Jupiter. Pardon me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. It must be a lot of you guys and myself. So Jupiter is like law and virtue and wealth. But Jupiter, being the guru or being the teacher, looks at like a lot of levels of a situation, or a lot of levels of what's going on when he's going to give you those gifts, right? So he's looking at everything and he's teaching you about those things, right? So Jupiter being in whatever house it's going to be in for you is going to be teaching you and expanding. And so it, like in the 10th house, where it's like your fame and your persona and all that, oh my gosh, it can make you grow so much out into the world and become this like person that everybody goes to and knows, right? But before Jupiter got there, it was like, did you work hard for that? Were you doing your 16 hours a day or 14 hours a day studying and going and doing? That's what Jupiter's saying. Jupiter's like, I want to give you these gifts. Are you ready for them? Are you ready for them? And if you're not, he'll teach you. He'll teach you. And he's a what they call a malefic planet, right? So malefic is like a beautiful soft planet, right? So when Jupiter's looking at things, it's looking in the sign or the house, wherever he's at. He's looking at the positive and the negative. He's looking at both, right? But Jupiter is a masculine, what they call a masculine planet. So meaning when it's a masculine planet, it wants to manifest externally. So it wants to give you like the material. So it manifests externally. It's not like this inner pull or inner thing. It's like whatever you're learning, it can manifest into the physical. Does that make sense? So it'll want to manifest on an external level, right? So there are going to be some times during this year in your chart where you're going to have like, you know, the Jupiter and then the sun and so all those other planets sort of help and talk to each other, and that's what's going to be going on in your planets. I mean, in your houses. So when I'm doing this tarot reading, I'm doing it from your ascending, but you can look at your moon and you can look at your sun and you can look at your Venus. I mean, you can look at those things, but when you look at them from their point of view. Okay. So, I know a lot of people were like, no, it's not in this house, it's in that house. Well, it's my astrology, it's my reading. So I'm going to say it the way that I see it, and I'm going to say it the way that I'm being told to say it. So it may not be what your chart says, but it's what my chart said, right? So I just wanted to make that clear. Let me make sure that I'm looking at my notes to make sure that I don't forget everything about Jupiter. So I think the most important thing to understand, because it's ruled by Mars, I'm sorry, it's not ruled by Mars. I was looking at Scorpio. I think the most important thing that you need to understand is everybody gets this misconception that Jupiter's just going to give gifts and everything's going to be okay. And it's not. It depends on how it works in your house. It depends on what planets are there in your house, what house it's at, and how it's talking to the other planets, and how it's actually talking to the sign in your house, right? But it's going to be in Scorpio. So let's talk a little bit about Scorpio. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars, right? And we all know Mars. Mars is that ambition. It's that thing, that drive that makes you work hard, right? But also Mars can like take away harshly too. So Mars being, Scorpio being ruled by Mars, you're going to see that it's going to want to like, Jupiter is going to have to express itself in a Martian way, right? That makes sense? So let me say it this way. Let's just say, so Jupiter's been in a home in Libra for a year, and now he's got to move to a different home, right? So he's moving into Scorpio. And Scorpio, we'll just say the landlord is Mars, right? So Jupiter has to like sort of go by the rules of Mars and Scorpio, right? So if you think about it that way, that may help you. And the reason I'm explaining these characteristics, because I think it's really important for you to understand the planet and the sign and then your house, so that you know how to ultimately express these things, how to manifest these things in your life. Because you can, this is what the astrologers call octaves. Like you can express it in a negative, excuse me, what you call a negative way, or you can go to the finer vibration and express it in a positive way. But that's kind of up to you. That's where we have free will. That's where we have choices, right? And that's kind of up to you. But my job is to help you, to give you the knowledge and the understanding so that you know what you're working with, right? When you have the tools, you know what you're working with, right? So let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is sometimes a misunderstood sign. I know I've had the pleasure of having beautiful Scorpios around me, really beautiful Scorpios around me. It's not that I haven't seen beautiful Scorpios around me, but I've had the pleasure of having all the octaves, or what you call all the octaves around me. So I know how beautiful they can be, but I know how sometimes they're misunderstood. Because, you know, when you think about Scorpio, oftentimes they're just thought of as the ones that are keeping secrets, the ones that, you know, can manipulate, and the ones that are very sexual. Well, yeah, those are, you know, that Scorpio itself has those things in it, has those characteristics in it, but it doesn't necessarily, that's not all of what Scorpio is. Scorpio is just this beautiful, it has so many other beautiful things. So let's talk about what that is. So let's talk about some characteristics. So some characteristics about Scorpio is being secretive and aggressive, the protector, right? So if you're close to any Scorpio, you know that they will protect you if they love you and they understand you. They will protect you till their death. Like, that's how Scorpios are. So, but they're also intuitive, very empathic, empathetic as well, right? And what they do is they love the taboo. They love what's out of the ordinary. So oftentimes the reason that they're secretive, they're not meaning to be secretive in a malicious way. They're being secretive because they're thinking, and this is not all Scorpios, but they're being secretive because they're thinking what I see in this situation is probably not what society sees, and people probably won't understand that I'm okay with this, so I would just rather not say anything. That's a Scorpio. They're not trying to be malicious. They're not trying to be secretive. They're always thinking of you and thinking, well, you know, they don't really need to know that part because it's just my thought and my perception anyway. That's a Scorpio, right? So oftentimes there's that miscommunication in relationships where Scorpios being secretive, but it's because they think that it might be more harmful to you if you know what they're really thinking is okay, right? So take that into consideration when you're dealing with a Scorpio. Scorpio is about transformation. And if you've followed me forever, this is one thing I've always said about Scorpios. I always see them as the rising phoenix. I see them as going in, figuring it out, that inner deep, deep, deep stuff, because that's what they want to do. They want the knowledge of that deep, deep, deep occult, deep hidden, deep, deep stuff, right? And then they transform themselves. So let me say this, if you have a Scorpio in your life, they definitely, as much as they will push your boundaries, as much as, they won't push your boundaries, as much as your boundaries will be pushed, as much as your knowledge of the hidden will be pushed, you will ultimately be transformed and have the change into what you're supposed to be. That's Scorpio. Scorpio transforms into what you're supposed to be. Okay? So, having Jupiter go into Scorpio, that is what we're going to be dealing with over this next year, right? And depending on, this is where, you know, you want your chart read by an astrologer. Depending on the degree and which house will depend on that type of transformation, will depend on that type of knowledge, will depend on that type of thing that's going on. But again, because Jupiter's in there, it's going to expand it. It's going to make it bigger, right? So going back to Jupiter going into Scorpio. So in this time with Jupiter going into Scorpio and having to play by Mars and Scorpio's rules, right? Because now they're roommates. Now he's got or that's his landlord. So now Jupiter's got to be like, Jupiter's like, well, I got to go by these rules. So Jupiter is going to be in your house, wherever he's at, is going to be digging deep for knowledge, digging deep for the teachings. That's what Jupiter's going to have to do, right? Because Jupiter and Mars are friends. So Jupiter plays well with Mars. He just has a different way of doing things, but he understands that once he's in the Scorpio house, he's got to play by the rules, right? Like I said, Jupiter loves to give gifts. He loves to do that, but Jupiter is also about transformation and expansion. So that's why they play well together. They just do it in a different way, right? It reminds me of when a Gemini and Aquarius get together, because you guys know my son is Gemini ascending Aquarius. So I have, in my lifetime, many, many Aquarian relationships. And so we have the same understanding about things, but we will be expressing it and explaining it in a different way, right? So it reminds me of kind of that. And I'm sure there are other signs, but I'm just bringing that to me. So, um, the one thing about Scorpio is that it is intense. So Scorpio is very intense. So whatever you're going to be going through, whatever this house is going to be lit up for you, wherever you're trying to express yourself, is, remember, because I'd said before, the planets are about expressing. It's the way that you're wanting to express it, and where it falls in the house. The houses are the area of life you're wanting to express it, but the planets and the sign are about the way that you're wanting to express in your life. Okay, so you're going to have some intense, deep, hidden things come about in your love life, in your life itself, in your love for family, in your businesses, in your money, in all of that. That's what Scorpio is about. It's about transforming, and so is Jupiter. So you're going to have some big transformation, which makes sense as to why I kept feeling transformation for everybody, because there's big transformation going on this year. Now, of course, this is only part of where the planets are, but this is a big part, and that's why I've decided to do Jupiter and Scorpio. So I'm going to go over each house, I'm going to go over each sign and tell you where it's at in your house, and then do the month of October reading, okay? So I hope I explained everything correctly. Oh, I did want to mention too, this is very important because I know some of you, again, I'm speaking to a whole but many different people, and some of you will associate better with a chakra, right? So Scorpio is associated with the solar plexus. It's associated with your third chakra, right? So if you don't know what the third chakra is, or the solar plexus chakra, you can think of the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh as those that come from above, and then so in the spiritual almost realm, or in the energetic realm, right? And then the two down below are the ones that come from earth, or this earth, right? So if you take what you know from above and what you have from below, and you bring them together, you manifest through your third chakra. So you're all about manifestation in this chakra, okay? So I think that's very important for a lot of people to understand. Now, depending on what house it is in and where your planets are aligned is going to depend on how you're going to manifest these things. What are you going to manifest, right? What area of life you're going to manifest and how. So I will see you in a minute. Okay, one more thing before I begin, I forgot to say. I wanted to talk about the ascending, the sun, and the moon very quickly so that you guys understand when you're watching. If you're watching from the ascending, you take this perspective, or the sun, you take this perspective, or the moon, you take that perspective, right? So the ascending, you can think of that as like your identity here in this world, right? Your identity. But when it comes from your ascending, when you're looking at it from your ascending, you're talking about your past lives, or if you don't believe in past lives, the stuff that's fated to happen, the stuff that's supposed to happen, the stuff that comes from nowhere, the stuff or the things, or the situation, or the people, like those relationships and whatever, fame, whatever that is. When it comes from, when you're looking at, that's why I like to work from the ascending, because this is stuff that was supposed to be yours anyway. This is stuff that's coming in for you anyway, because this is what you wanted to experience, because this is how you wanted to manifest, because for all different reasons. So, or because, in your past life you did so much work, and now you brought some of the gifts for this life, right? That's what you're looking at when you're looking at the ascendant, right? And that's why sometimes what you guys call miracle just happened. Well, it happened because it was coming from your ascending. It was what you wanted to experience it in that way, right? So that's why I like to look at the ascending. And when you're looking at your ascending, that's the way that you want to see it, okay? I mean, or not, you can do whatever. I'm just saying this is my understanding. So your sun, when you're looking at your sun sign, or you're watching from your sun sign, these are the the directions that you can take. This is the intention that you put on your goals and your relationships and your way of life and the things that are happening to you. This is where you can make your choices, right? So this is more of the conscious mind, right? So you can think of it as like the ascending coming from your subconscious and the sun coming from your conscious, although they all have both. But this is where you can make your decisions and put your intention and put your focus, and this is where, you know, some people will say this is where your free will is, right? So when you're looking at it from your sun, it doesn't negate the fact that, you know, I mean, your ascending isn't more important than your sun. It all kind of works together. It's just that the ascending is where you get like those things that you're like, wow, that just happened, or oh my gosh, that just happened, right? Because that stuff like you probably didn't even see coming because it was fated for you. It was supposed to come in for you. It was like, that's like the miracles. That's from your higher self. That's from spirit. That's from you, from your whole being, right? And then the sun is more of that conscious. Now the moon is the way, when you're looking at it from your moon, this is where you get the information or get the relationship or get the things around you, and you're looking at them and you're processing them. And we process them many different ways, but we do it and we connect with it emotionally, right? So that's why they call the moon the emotional part. So this is where you're processing the information, and that's what you're doing when you're looking at the moon. When you're looking at it from the moon side, you're gathering the information and you're processing it emotionally. You're trying to connect to it. What do I want to do with it? What do I want to do with that situation? What do I want to do with that person? What do I want to do with my life? What is going on, right? That's the moon. So I just thought that was very important for everybody to understand. And please, even though I'm saying look at it from the ascendant, don't don't box yourself in. This is why I don't just do astrology, because astrology, just sometimes some people are so analytical and so to the T that you're missing out on this whole bigger picture. So absolutely look at it from your moon, because you might see a different thing. Look at it from your sun, because you might see a different thing. Look at it from your ascending. Look at it from all sides. That way you gather all the information, because they're all important. Okay? So I hope that helps. I'll see you in a minute. All right, my beautiful Aquarians, you know I love you. You know you have a special place in my heart. So first of all, let me say, earlier in the video, I said Jupiter was a malefic planet, and I actually said it twice. I don't know why, because I know it's a benefic planet. So people will stop commenting and telling me that. I already knew that. I don't even know why I said it that way, but I already know that. So thank you everyone for bringing that to my attention. Okay, so secondly, I wish I had better news. Listen, my ascending is in Aquarius, so I wish I had better news. I have better news for the year. Let me say that. I have the better news for the year. And it is in your 10th house. So that's where it's going to be. But we got to get through this stuff first. And I know, I know you're like, how much more? How much more? How much more? Right? Okay. So before we talk about this spread, let's talk about where Jupiter is going to fall in. It's going from your 9th. So it's going from Libra to Scorpio, and it's going from your 9th to your 10th, right? So what's the 10th house about? Aqua, because it's about time for you guys, Aquas. So the 10th house is about your fame and your persona and your public image, the public life, right? So, you know, how you are to the world, how you are out in the world, right? That's the 10th house. So it's about the actions in the world that you take, right? A lot of you, if not most, are humanitarian. So helping the world and doing that and having that public life, that's the 10th house. Okay, so with Scorpio, with Scorpio being in there, and then Jupiter coming in, Jupiter's going to expand that. So if you've been working on it, which I know you have because it was in your 9th house, and you were really doing the higher learning, really understanding, really, and you know, if you have, like me, because it's ruled by Saggy, the 9th house. If you have Sagittarius, because I'm Sagittarius mood. So if you were really working on that, and really expanding that, and really knowing that, and really getting those skills together, really like bringing it to formation and bringing it to humanity, and you know, helping in that way, whatever area of life that you know your purpose is. So like, you know, your purpose could be in science, or your purpose could be in the medical field, or your purpose could be in the military or the police force, or, you know, whatever that was, you were getting knowledge and understanding, and you were gaining, and Jupiter sort of expanded that. And now this year it's going into your 10th house. But Scorpio wants you to dig deep. Scorpio doesn't want that surface stuff. Scorpio wants you to dig deep, right? And Jupiter is going to expand your understanding. Jupiter's the teacher, the guru, remember. So Jupiter wants to expand. Now, remember, Jupiter will expand positive and negatively. It just kind of depends on what you're doing and your choices and the things that are happening. But with it being in your ascending, these things are fated that are going to be. So Jupiter wants to give you gifts, right? And it's like being an being an aqua, sometimes we get stubborn because we're a fixed sign, right? So you get stubborn, you're like, no, I want to do it this way. And the universe is like, listen, there's an easier way to do this, or there's a different way to do this. But we're like, no, I see it, it's going to be this way, right? So remember that Jupiter is going to be expanding. So when it expands your 10th house, you're talking about your career expanding. You're talking about your persona and life expanding. You're talking about having abundance and opportunity. As long as you're doing your purpose and your passion, that it's going to expand in a what y'all call a positive way, right? So finances and resources and all of that can come through this 10th house because you're working, like, it's almost like you're working in your alignment, right? Also, a spouse can come through this 10th house. But when Jupiter's there, it's going to be, when Jupiter's expanding in this house, what happens is your second house, or your possessions, or the value of who you are, which is the second house, the value of your identity, that becomes like the focus for you, right? So you're doing this stuff in your purpose. With the 10th house is your purpose, so you're doing your stuff in your purpose, and then you're doing it because you're wanting to be stable in this, or you're wanting to have a home, or you're wanting to have that solid relationship, or you're wanting to get closer to your family. Whatever this is, it's about it sort of lights up the second house. So it'll be aspecting that, it'll be looking at the second house, where you, from your point, the second house, or your possessions of your identity, will be very important to you. So it causes you to focus on this, right? So also, this is a time, and this is really interesting because I won't say all aquas, I will say a lot of aquas, and you don't have to comment or anything, because I know we like to keep our stuff, but a lot of aquas may in their younger years have had issue with their father figure, right? I mean, I know everybody has issues, but I'm talking like issues with your father figure. And so when Jupiter's in your 10th house and Scorpio's in there going deep, this is what, and I think this is why they're having me bring this out. When Scorpio's going deep in there, it's almost like, I'm feeling like, whether you believe in past lives or not, or whether you believe in life between life or not, I almost feel like this, you don't want life to go by with your father figure and you not having a resolution or an understanding. You don't have to have a resolution and understanding, right? So in this next year, that's a possibility for you guys to get closer to your father, to get closer to your father figure, to get the opportunity, we'll say that, to get the opportunity to expand that relationship. Now, whether it goes good or bad, it's kind of up to both of you and your choices that you make, right? And whether your ego's in balance or not, and the phase of life that you're in. But I feel like this is really, really important. I know the fame and the fame's not that important, but I know the persona and the expansion in your career because you want the stability and all of that. I know that's important, but I feel like that father figure may be important on that deeper Scorpio Jupiter level. I feel like they're going to have some opportunity in that. Okay. So if you feel like commenting throughout the year about that, you can, but don't feel like you have to, because I know you aquas. All right. So with that being said, I want to let you know that your resources are going to get better. The finances could get better. The family relationships could get better. Some of you may have a spouse coming through this house. Some of you may have that, even if you don't want a husband or a wife, a solid relationship could be coming through this house. Okay. So I'm really, really excited for you guys. I'm excited for me too. Although I'm not sure if it's in my 10th or not. I gotta look at my chart because my chart is a little off. I've got like bigger houses and smaller houses. I've got this really interesting chart, which I'm sure a lot of you do. So, with that being said, this is going to be your love forecast for October 2017. What you can do also before I start this is that you can look over back over the year. So, like, because Jupiter was in your ninth house, you can look, I think it was in your ninth house, look back over the year at yeah, it was in ninth house. So look back over the year and see where you expanded in your ninth house. So like next year, November 2018, you can look back over the year and see what's expanded in your 10th house. You can sort of look at that. All right. So if you've never seen me before, love to me is that force or energy that moves through all vibrations. Okay, so I could be talking about your family. I could be talking about your career. I could be talking about you. I could be talking about your money. I could be talking about your love life. I could be talking about your coworkers or your job. It kind of depends on where your focus and energy has been as to what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be just one thing. It can be a couple. All right, so I'm going to take a deep breath. I don't like doing this sometimes, but it's really, really important for us. I just want some good news for you guys. Like, I just want some great news for you. And it's right there. I can feel it for like the aquas. I can feel it. It's like right there. But like this week, you probably had a heck of a week. I almost cursed. I'm sorry. You probably had a heck of a week, right? And so this was sort of the time to just stay back, not do anything, because everything you did was just bam, bam. You hit a wall. It didn't work. It's not going to do it. What do I do? Blah, 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 right? Hang in there. Hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. I can just feel everybody like, listen, I trust the universe and I'm listening to you, Cindy, but it's not working. I know. I know. All I can tell you is what I can tell you is that it's like right there. And October 10th, if not before, it's just sort of trickling out because there was so much stuff, Aguas, that we had to clear. So much stuff that you had to clear. So much stuff that you had to make a decision about that you hadn't made before. So many times that you went one way and should have gone another. Not because Spirit wants you or the universe wants you to go another. It's because you wanted to do another thing, but you were like, I don't know, back and forth, back and forth. And so you went this way because it was going to appease everybody and make things easier. And really, that's not what you wanted. So now you're having to go this way. And to do that, you can't just leave this way. You have to like clear. You have to clear because you're an aqua. You have a huge responsibility to humanity, to this earth, to this realm, to this lifetime. So you can't just say, well, I'm going to dump that and come over here. You can't. You know that. You understand that on a deeper level. So hang in there. Okay. So in your first position, you're going to be dealing with a separation. You're going to be dealing with either a breakup, and this one's pretty deep. So it's either a breakup or you and that person have to separate like locations, okay? So, or you and your job, or you and your money for right now, or you and your family, or you and something. Someone or something you have to separate. That's like in your now, right? And if it hasn't happened and it's going to happen, hang in there. Hang in there because their advice is the 10 of Cups. It's deep. Whatever this is, it's deep. But they're saying to get to the space, to the life, to the experience that you're really, really wanting before you go through this life, to get to that, these things are needing to happen. And Aquarians, like, if it's not one thing, it's another, and it could be 2 or 3 things that are like happening all at once, right? So they're saying you're getting to a space where you're going to have exactly what you're wanting, but you're having to clear. And so I also feel, so they're saying this too. Just when you think that someone isn't there for you, they're going to be there for you. That makes sense? Just when you think. So hang in there. Hang in there. Oh my God, I can feel your heart. Okay, you guys got to back it off. I can feel your heart. Oh, okay. Now, in your third position, your recent past. So you had some beginnings starting. You had whether it was a relationship or love or maybe even dating, or some projects that you were working on, or like family things that were happening. You had some starts that you were like, yeah, this is it. This is it. I can feel it like revving. This is it, right? And so because of that, it's like, I wish I could explain it to you what I'm seeing, but like, because you have these beginnings, you have to clear this side. You have to clear this side, and that's why this is happening. Because where you're going is not the same vibration that you were in, or that you are in, and so you have to like let go of some of these things, and let go of some of these people, and let go of some of these relationships. Okay, and I know it hurts you. I can feel that it hurts you. Thank you for backing it off, by the way. I can feel that it hurts you. So, and obviously I'm not talking to everybody, because everybody's like, it just depends on the degrees in your house that you know you're at for your ascending. And so I'm obviously not talking to everybody, but I can feel a lot of you. So whatever this start was, it's causing this, and this is needed to get to here. Okay. Now, in the first 2 weeks of October 2017, you have the Seven of Wands. So they're saying, I know what I'm going to say. You're going to be like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. But I'm telling you, they're saying stand up and fight. Stand up and fight for what you want. Stand up and do what it is that you want. You are Aquarian. You can do this. Keep going. Make the choices. Do what you need to do and move forward. Okay? Because it's what you're wanting. It's really, really what you're wanting. You've told the universe what you wanted. You told your higher self what you wanted. But you've got to get through this stuff. So there's going to be some stuff coming to you. I know like it's not enough coming to you in the next 2 weeks. But this is all about you. See that light that you're shining? You're like, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope. Right? Like, just handle your business. That's what I'm feeling. Handle your business. Handle your business. With people, with relationships, with your money, with your projects, with your businesses, with yourself. Handle your business. Okay? Yeah. Like, they're having me, like, really, they want you to stand up and fight. And it's not like you can't. It's just that you're right at that end where it's like, it's about to break through. And I know I've been saying that, but you had to clear this other stuff. Okay, so from your higher self, I always ask your higher self in your fifth position, what is the one message they want to bring through to help you move forward in love? And you have the Five of Wands. So they're saying, in the fight, in the standing in your true self, in the claiming what has always been yours anyway, in all of that, they're saying, keep your ego in balance. Because what can happen is you get so irritated because you're just in that fight mode or in that standing in your truth mode, and little things can become big things. Okay. So really, really take note of the way that people are speaking to you, of the situations that come to you, of the relationships that come in right now. Okay. They're just saying, take a minute and take a breath. Do your counting 1 to 10. Something happens. Somebody says something, count 1 to 10. Just take a minute, count 1 to 10, and then say, okay, does this really matter? Is this really going to matter in a year? If the answer is no, then let it go. If the answer is yes, then stand your ground. Okay? That's what they're saying. Now, that's really important for you guys for some reason. In your sixth position, this is at the end of the 2 weeks. At the end of October, last 2 weeks, you have the Queen of Swords. So this is someone coming in. For some of you, it's a relationship coming in. The Queen, to me, it's not gender specific. The Queen means that they have the characteristics of an air sign. So you guys know it's a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, right? And this person has been through the ringer like you have, right? This person stands with their sword. This person has made their way to you, and this person's willing to help. I kind of feel like that's what they were talking about earlier. This person may be that person for you, where they're like, just when you think there's no one around that will help. Because you Aquas won't say anything to people when you need help. So you'll just not say anything, but this person will come in. That's for some of you. For others of you, it is a love relationship coming in. It is someone here to sort of help you open up, help you connect, help you understand about relationships in a different way. Yeah. For others of you, it's a business partner, but this person's like you. They're driven. They can get things done. They're very smart and think outside of the box. And they have the energy to make those things happen. Okay. But whoever this is, you'll know them because they've been through a lot, like a lot of losses, Like, I think I said this in another video. It sort of perturbs me. That's just my opinion, though. It sort of perturbs me when people say he or she was an overnight success, because people don't understand. They don't see all the back of the self-sacrificing and the losses that person got to be to that success. It wasn't overnight. They've been doing it for a long time. It's just overnight that you saw them. But they've been working on their craft or their talent or their purpose for a long time to become the success. That's what I feel like this. Okay. Now, in your 7th position, this is your fear. Of course, it's the devil. So to me, this is about addiction. This is about lustfulness. This is about like having a good time and throwing care to the wind, and like just being in that time of enjoyment, right? And so your fear is, will I ever have fun again? Will I ever be happy again? Will I ever have someone that's by me that I'm so passionate about, and we're so passionate about each other, and that's my best friend, and like, that's your fear. Will that stuff ever come? And remember, a fear is there to remind you of what you want and what you don't want. You already know that you don't want to be alone. You already know that you do want somebody that can match you, right? So you know what you want, you know what you don't want at this point, Aquas. So just focus on what you want. Focus on what that happiness and that passion would be like. What is that for you? Okay. Now, in your 8th position, it's funny because some of you are going to have 2 people come in. I just saw this. In your 8th position, this is the way a loved one will be dealing with you or viewing you in the month of October. So for some of you, you do have a Leo coming in. So it could be this person that's like on target with you. They understand you. They help you. They want to collaborate or partner with you in your business. Like, I feel like that person, and they see you as very intuitive, very focused, very driven, and able to accomplish what they want. That's how they'll be dealing with you. For others of you, I feel like this is the universe saying, this is that shadow side of you, right? And it's almost where it's aligned, and it just takes the strength. It takes the strength, it takes the focus, and it takes the not giving up for you to get to where you're supposed to get. Okay, so continue to do that. Continue to walk in your truth. Continue to walk in your truth, because you're almost there. You're almost there. Yeah, you're almost there. They're reminding me of where the planets are aligning to. Yeah, you're almost there. Now, in your 9th position, this is your hopes and dreams, but to me, this is the outer realm of the energy that you're bringing in. You have the 3 of Cups, so you do have a break coming. I mean, hello. It doesn't mean that it's finished. A 3 of Cups to me means that it's a place where you get a break. Like you can breathe and say, okay, I am doing it right. This is going well. I did see something from the universe to indicate that, yes, I'm doing it, right? So I feel like that's coming. I feel like this is really important, whatever this is, and this. And then when this comes, or this person comes, or the situation comes. So let me say this. If you're doing this at the end of the month, this could be you in a situation where the energy is just like you're rethinking and you're thinking outside the box and you're getting it together and you're figuring it out and you're like doing it, okay? And I feel like this comes in, okay? Now, in your 10th position, this is the overall outcome of what you'll be working through in the month of October. And look at that. Isn't that Jupiter right there? Sometimes we do need to let something lie. Sometimes we do need to not focus so hard on something to try to make it happen because it wasn't supposed to happen that way anyway. Not because the universe doesn't want it to happen, but because you really didn't want that to happen. Okay? So I feel like with the Four Swords, there's something that you're going to realize that there's nothing more that you can do about it, and you got to trust. You got to trust the universe. You got to trust yourself. I feel like you'll be working through that. And I feel like with Jupiter here, isn't this funny? Because Jupiter's in Libra now, and Jupiter's in Libra right now. I mean, in this card. It's about relationships, but sometimes you have done already as much as you can do. And it's just a phase of life. It doesn't mean you failed at the relationship. It doesn't mean you failed at anything. It just means that life cycle is over and it's time for you to go into the new one. But because you're a fixed sign, sometimes you feel like that new one, there's no foundation. When really there is, you just feel like there isn't, right? So if you've done everything and it isn't going your way, it's time to relax the energy and just put it down, okay? Like, do your everyday things, continue to focus on what you want, but there isn't any more action that you can take. There isn't, okay? And I feel like you'll be finding the balance in that in October. I feel like you'll be finding the balance of, okay, I do need to make a decision about that. I do need to take an action about that, but I'm not going to do anything about this because I've already done everything I can. Okay? That's what I feel like you're going to be doing in relationships, in family, in love relationships and family relationships, in your businesses, in your purpose, and in you. All right, my gorgeous Aquas, I love you, love you, love you. Have a great month. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it, but you will. I'm sending you lots of love and light.